U.S. President Donald Trump is in Qatar for the second stop of his Middle East tour. He has announced a number of deals with the country, including a large order of Boeing jets. To understand these deals and some possible ethical implications, I'm joined by Eric Lipton. He is an investigative reporter for the New York Times, and we've reached him in Washington. Eric, appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
So we've read your piece today with much interest. You've reported that more than $2 billion has flowed into Trump-linked businesses just this past month, from crypto to real estate. So what stands out to you most about the scope of this enrichment?
It's just at a scale that we've never seen before in American history, and a frequency. It's not just the $2 billion that went from Abu Dhabi to the Trump family and its World Liberty Financial, but there's other deals involving the government of Qatar and a real estate partnership that was just announced. And then there's the government of Oman, which also has a real estate deal with the Trump family. And then there's a Saudi-backed real estate company that has 6 different deals with the Trump family. So there's just all these different ways that money is coming into the Trump family at the same time as the president is in the Middle East, visiting the same countries that the family is doing business deals with. And it creates at least a question mark about what really is driving the president as he is making these policy decisions that not only affect the United States, but really global foreign policy. And so that's something that is a question mark. I mean, the Trump administration has said to us that the president makes his decisions entirely based on what's in the best interest of the United States, and that he has no conflicts of interest because his sons run these companies, not him. But it is an open question because we've never seen a president having such active business endeavors at the same time as he is the chief executive officer and the commander-in-chief of the United States.
Now, the Trump-branded cryptocurrency offers access dinners, White House tours to top buyers. So how does that blur the line between political leadership and personal profit?
Well, you have a president whose family is running 2 different crypto companies, at least. World Liberty Financial, that's got this $2 billion from the government of UAE, and separately a meme coin that has raised hundreds of millions of dollars in token sales. He just finished up a contest where the top 220 owners of his meme coin would win the privilege if the more you bought, the higher you got on the leaderboard, and if you got among the top 220 owners of the Trump token, then you could have the privilege of having dinner with the President of the United States at his golf club in Virginia outside of Washington, D.C. And for the top 25 of those, you would have a VIP reception with the president, and you get a tour of the White House. Again, we've just never seen anything like this, where the president is personally enriching himself in exchange for selling access. I mean, campaign contributions that have been around for, 100 and more than 100 years, and pay to play for access based on campaign contributions. But this is not a campaign contribution to support him politically. This is a payment to benefit him personally, him and his family. And it creates new ethical issues and conflicts of interest that we're really trying to examine quite closely at the New York Times. We're writing a lot about it. We're trying to bring transparency to what's happening.
I mean, I just want to put it bluntly. Is this potentially personal grifting on steroids?
A lot of people are calling it corruption and grift. What I'm prepared to say is it's a conflict of interest. It's an ethical violation. It's unprecedented in American history. As to whether or not there's a quid pro quo involved, is the president formally taking policy decisions to reflect to benefit the people that have been paying money to his companies. We don't have the evidence to prove that, but there's a lot of evidence that create a question that merits more investigation.
And now let's talk about the plane. Qatar is offering a $400 million Boeing aircraft to the president so he can use it as a temporary Air Force One. Is this essentially a gift in exchange for access or favorable policy?
Another big question mark. I mean, the offer of the plane came just after Qatar announced, along with Dar Global, a real estate company with Saudi ties, that they were going to work on a $5 billion real estate project in north of Doha, about 40 miles. and this is a big deal for the Trump family. Now, I mean, they get, and so. And what Qatar is really important to the American, policy, because it's the single largest military base in the Middle East, and so how do the president is there right now? They just announced a new deal with Boeing, where Qatar is going to buy a bunch of new Boeing planes. Apparently, the real question is it throws a kind of a wild card into the relations between the United States and Qatar. We don't really know what influence. Potential financial, Qatar also put large amounts of money into the private equity company that Jared Kushner, Affinity Partners, set up. So Qatar, UAE, and Saudi Arabia all collectively have allocated almost more than $4 billion to Jared Kushner, the son-in-law of the president, for his private equity company. So it's just a blurring of lines that is very unusual. This is a nation that has tried to push other countries against foreign corrupt practices and distancing the financial interest of government officials with government contracts, but now the president of the United States is blurring these lines in a way that the United States has tried to force other nations to separate.
Just a quick one to you, Eric, and that is, we just had the Canadian Prime Minister was meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office, trying to explain to him that Canada is not for sale when it comes to the 51st state. He's spoken very transactionally about this country, about wanting to force annexation. Do you think that these kind of deals that he's making in the Middle East, that this should be a warning to others, to Canadians, for instance?
I mean, the thing about Donald Trump is he has always been a very transactional person. And it's, what's the deal? What's in it for me? What's in it for you? I mean, obviously, he came from being a real estate executive, a casino owner. He is all about, transactions that bring benefit. And sometimes that bring him and his family benefit directly. So I think that any other foreign leader that is going to be dealing with him needs to fully understand that this is not that there's this that everything is about just the back and the forth, the transaction, the deal making, and I think that actually that foreign leaders are learning and look at what happened with China and the tariffs and other nations where the President Trump has effectively backed down after some of these foreign countries have called his bluff. So, you need to be aware that he is extremely transactional, and there's other motives that sometimes are playing in the background.